really crappy day, and I thought, who could I talk to that would uplift me? Oh, I'll call Laura Lee. Well,
Hmm.
first of all, I have crap too. I just don't put it out there because it serves no purpose.
Right.
Nobody's going to
Hmm.
solve it. I don't want pity. And I again, that's what I use social media for is, and again, I live it. I do try to remain positive, but sharing my stuff on there, what does that do? Except, never mind the fact, let's go conspiracy. You have no idea who's watching that or what they're collecting.
Hmm.
Because that's happening here in Canada, I can tell you that. And I know it's happening in the US and other parts of the world where they are looking what you're posting on social media.
Hmm.
And
And that too, very much so. And you don't realize the things that you have effect on, or the effect that you have on other people. It's like all of the things, and fortunately I've got Laura Lee and other people in my life where and there's very few, like I can count on three fingers, the people that I have that I can actually tell things to, and only two of them I trust.
mhm.
And Laura Lee is one of them. So the thing is that I get to a point where, like today, I was thinking actively, and I'm just going to be blunt here. I was thinking about just shaving my head and cutting my fingernails off and just shutting my social media down because nobody freaking cares. It's just,
You
I
were
get
in a bad
really,
era. You were in a bad place.
yeah, I get really tired, really, really tired of stuff. And it's like, if you're going to complain about something that's really super trivial, and granted, I understand that the trivial may be a huge deal to somebody else, but when you've got an active lease, you're not working, and you're doing all these other things, and you're trying to stay alive and not live in your car with two cats, don't tell me something fluffy and be sad about it. It makes me want to scream and bash something in. I mean, seriously.
Mhm.
Can you talk to me about something serious that actually matters and
And
be passionate about it?
and it's not a competition.
No.
That mine is worse than yours. We're all different. We all experience things differently. I do want to give a shout out to one of our hosts here on Friday nights, Jeffrey Pritchett. His beloved dog passed away, and
Yeah,
he
it's
called
sad.
him his son. Many people consider their pets like as they call themselves pet parents. And
Yes.
you know what? Pets are family. So I send him a lot of love and my deepest condolences, our deepest condolences. And I'm so sorry for anybody else that's going through that as well.
Yeah.
I do want to share the comments here because I think they're excellent. Shannon said, I make an honest effort to use my social media to make people laugh. My thought is, if I can make someone laugh, that makes me happy too. That is so
Yeah,
important.
that's very sweet. And like you Lordly said, it's very important to be putting back. And I mean, even if you're not thinking about it, and that's the great thing is that you're not really thinking about it until, oh, wait a minute, I might be, putting back when I do that. And that's sweet. That is actually a legit sweet moment right there.
I had somebody send me a message today. It was a follower of my guest from last night from over in the UK. I'd never met them. And they were so sweet. I had such a great conversation. I actually said to them, it was the first message I saw when I woke up this morning. And I said, what a beautiful way to start the day. Thank you. You've made my day. And it was all, you could feel the blushing. Like, why would you say, no, people need to hear that. Like, what a great way to start the day, to open up
Mhm.
and have such a positive, beautiful person. And are they going through things? Absolutely. You know what's going on over in the UK. But
Mhm.
just to reach out and share who they were and how positive they are. And again, do they have issues? We all got crap, folks. Even if you don't hear it, you don't see it, we do.
Mhm.
I'm
We
gonna
all of us.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sarah. I was gonna read the rest of the comments, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say everybody, and that means everybody. It doesn't matter how high you think they are on the social platform or how low they are. Everybody sits in their own mire at some point. And even right now, and it's not like Literally said, it's everybody. It literally is everyone is having something going on, and it's not like it's a rare thing, but right now, because of the situation geopolitically, wherever you're at, there's something. And then you've got your life junk on top of it. And the life junk is amplified for everybody because of the other stuff.
And it
So
disappeared for a second. So go keep going, Sarah. Sorry.
yeah, so what do? You've got to, try to do what you can and do what you must and do what the things that you need to do to get things done, even if that means throwing on some, guilty pleasure tunes and
Yeah.
trying to make yourself feel good. If that's the only thing that you have is let's say your YouTube channel that you listen to, or Spotify or Pandora, and throw on something great. Do that one thing. It doesn't cost any money. Lift and raise your vibrationary levels and try to get through that day, even if it's just hour by hour or minute by minute. Positivity is a choice. And I'm sorry, Laura, I had to just kind of put it in there. So continue. She had comments from our lovely.
I'm going to add some stuff to this because every word you said is true. But I was reading, what was I reading here? I'll read the comments. It was something I thought that I had. It'll come back. But to go hand in hand with this, but one person can make a difference. And it doesn't matter whether it's positive or it's negative, because somebody is reading that. Somebody is seeing that. The other question to ask yourself, right? And some of us don't have close friends. There are people that don't, and I understand that. And you may need to reach out or talk to somebody or whatever. That's fine. But ask yourself, if I had an issue or, and say somebody, maybe you're going through this yourself, you're getting a lot dumped on you. Ask yourself, would I contact this person and tell them all this kind of stuff, if it was deep or dark or really personal? And if you wouldn't, maybe it's okay to set up some boundaries and to say, no, you know what, I need a break. And I'm telling you guys, it wasn't on purpose this weekend, but I've shared it and been very honest with you guys the last couple of weekends. And I think we're going to do it a lot more as the weather gets warmer, because we don't have internet out at camp, which really is a blessing, is that to shut things off during the weekend and turn on some great tunes, do some things we love, and just get outside. Just getting outside in nature really helps. I'm going to read the comments. Sorry, got off track there. Like Shannon said, she says, like I said before, with me and Sean, that's her husband, we force ourselves to see the positive things that have happened in the past year. And yes, you've shared them. And that's exactly it. Could you guys really, really be complaining and really mired down with what's going on? Yes, but you have actually pointed out the positives, that it's helped strengthen your relationship. You've learned to really grow your love together as a couple. You've shared. And like I said, I would never reveal anything you've said privately. This is stuff you've shared, because it's not physical, but it's the emotional connection that's really grown and gotten deeper. But you guys have made that choice to realize that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're picking out all the golden nuggets out of this. And that's where I was going with this. I'm going to read the other two comments in a sec. Is how many times have we all said, if I know I'm saying it all the time, if I had 48 hours in a 24-hour day, but how many of us have said, if only I had the time, enough time, I would do A, B, or C? You got the time. And there's so many free resources out there. Believe it or not, you just got to get a little creative. I never planned to be on a pension and have a paycheck once a month. Get creative. But I'm telling you, I have pages of free resources that I have found over the years that somebody always offers it. And we're not taking advantage of it. They're offering it. So why not take advantage of it? And even an app like Scribd, and no, I don't get paid for Scribd. I love it. It's a free 30-day. You can try it out. It's an app for any type of smartphone. It's also got a website. It's sribd.com. It's only $8.99 US a month, okay? Unlimited downloads for books, audiobooks, magazines. They're starting to carry podcasts. They have documents. They have sheet music. And in the documents, it will blow your mind, some of the free things you will find in there. It is the best money I've ever spent. Dell uses it all the time now, because I kept telling you need to check this out. And you know how many times we buy a book and then you go, oh crap, I'm never going to finish this, or, a resource or whatever it may be. You can check them all out in there and see. Like, that's how I bought some of my most trusted books that I use, because I knew I was going to use it by being able to go through it. Like I said, best resource. But there's all kinds of free things like that you can find. I want to also add here, Shannon said, that's how we keep each other's spirit up. Zach Man said, I take all the crap I put up with and parody it to make it less harmful and scary. And Shannon says, exactly, Zach Man. And exactly, but I want to go there with that, Sarah. I won't keep talking, I promise. Is just the fact that you just said, all the crap you're going through, you add humor to it, and you're still able to share what's going on, but it makes people laugh, not at you, but with you. Wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing that I do is that sometimes when I feel really horrible, I just look up and go, you know what? If this was an actual TV show, people would not only watch
Oh
it,
my
they would
God,
be
I said that,
laughing. They
Sarah.
would be laughing their balls off at this because, it may not be funny now, but it probably would be funny in a while. But you know, like my sister had actually posted something on Facebook, and this is the thing I'm going to talk about. I'm going to back the train up a little bit with people being mean for no reason. And so my sister and I were talking about something in an active dialogue on her wall about when we were kids, and because when you're kids and your mom and grandparents make you sleep together, and we had to take a nap because it was a holiday or something like that, so they put us in bed, and then I did something and then I accidentally kicked my legs out and we were on a waterbed. And that's right. We were at my dad's house. My dad had a waterbed and we were made to sleep in there. And my sister and I weren't used to that kind of situation. And my sister got catapulted into the wall, which was not funny at the time. I'm going to say it was not funny.
Oh,
And there was crying and embarrassment, and secretly on the inside, I was probably laughing a little bit. But then it was not funny. Now it's hilarious. But my sister's best friend, she's had since the seventh grade. I'm not going to say her name,
yeah.
but she turns it into no, it wasn't funny at all. It's like, wow, you need to remove that stick quick. It's like
Mhm.
what that is actually. It's hilarious when you think about it.
And if your sister could laugh about it, it happened
Yes,
to her and you.
yeah, but I'm going to preface also with that situation where the people that you're around seem to help cultivate the mood and the general, let's say, understanding that of where you're at. And so the people that you hang around make
Yes.
you grumpy or lighter or whatever. But my sister tends to take things a little harder when she's around this person. And I'm like, I'm not saying don't hang around with that person, but you're starting to turn into that person. It's like you used to be fun. And I like to remind her kids, like, your mom used to be really fun.
Well, you know what yeah, exactly. Well, you know what it is? Science has proven this, that the five people you spend the most of your 24-hour day with, and this doesn't just necessarily mean family. It could be work, it could be friends, whomever it is. You start to adopt a lot of their characteristics, a lot
Yeah,
of their belief systems, their mannerisms, their emotional attitude,
it's pack
everything.
mentality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and we don't see it, but Sarah and I have had this conversation probably on the show many times, I think
Mm-hmm.
too, but also off the air, that it's so easy for somebody on the outside looking in to see what the issue and the problem is. But when we have that mirror held up to our own faces, myself included, everybody, it's so hard to see for
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, whereas other people can see it, right? So
Yeah.
that's the thing I really have kept in mind. It was kind of drilled in when I started this path, this light worker path, to that's one of the things that is suggested if you're starting to get into this, because you really start to change your mindset, I maybe some ideas and thoughts or beliefs that maybe you held that no longer serve you, that you let go. And people started to notice that you're changing. That can happen with anything, not the light worker path, just anything.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to really do an evaluation and take a look at things and say, this may be a time when I have to cut some ties. And
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. It's hard if it's family, it's hard if it's a spouse, and sometimes you can't. But you may have to limit your time around them or put like a buffer zone in between, or even social media has now, most platforms have a mute or kind of a restrict button so that you aren't exposed as often to those type of things. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to unfriend or block,
Right.
take a break, you can even do that. But it's so important right now. This is where I was going with this, Sarah. Sorry, I keep talking, but I just remembered. Now I'm going to go conspiracy theorist again. For those of you, and I hate that term. Dell and I were even talking about truth and truther. That's even getting kind of demonized in the mainstream media. So I don't know what the word is. We've been looking for a word other than truth.
I would
But
say seeker,
seeker, yes, but seeker of what, right?
just plain and simple seeker.
That
You're a
clarification,
seeker.
whatever it is. But have you ever thought that the powers that be that are pulling these strings, that they've manipulated things to the point to keep us constantly in fear, to keep us angry, to keep us depressed, to keep people fighting with one another, okay, to keep our vibration low. And those of you that may follow me know that I talk about we are capable as human beings of so much more than we have ever been told or we ever believe. And I truly
Hmm.
believe that because we've seen other human beings do it. And
Yeah.
you'll see it in the media, wherever, like, oh my God, superhuman. Really? We're all built the same way. We all have different gifts and talents, but I truly believe we have those abilities. But when we're in that low vibrational energy, right? It's
Hmm.
hard to do anything if you want, make any kind of change. When we start to raise our vibration, right? I think that that's when we start to see more potential. We're able to accept more potential. We're able to make change. And
Hmm.
I think that that's why they're keeping us here, because I think that if we were able to do this as a collective, I think the world wouldn't even be even remotely close to what we're seeing. Maybe that's being super ultra positive or, you know, pie in the sky ideals, but what would be the harm in trying it?
Exactly. Well, it's and trying. It's not just being pie in the sky or anything. It's trying to see through to the other side. And right now, because it's getting so much harder to actually see that there's another side to this, because of everything that's being destroyed and the way of things that are people are trying to conquer, it's things just seem to be getting more of a dismal turn. And I just don't understand how somebody want to take a bad situation and make it worse at any point. So you have to start thinking of how you can flip the script and like, oh wait, hey, I can do this. Or this might suck right now, but I can do this instead. Or it's like bargaining with a 2 year old, which you can't really do. But what you need to do for those who are moms, and you know this, is that you, or dads, you know, because some dads know this, that um, well, if you help mom do this,
Or just
this, yeah, or get out of the brat attack kind of situation. Now you have to kind of parlay that into your life. It's like, well, this is kind of going downhill quick. What can I bargain with? Oh, because I'm bargaining currently with myself. It's like, well, I can't do this right now, but what can I do? Don't quit telling me what I can't do. What can I do? Even in states and provinces and countries or villages where you are not able to do the things that you once were able to do, let's focus on the things that you are able to do, like go into your personal private front yard or backyard, or go into your personal car, or go into, let's say you don't have a car, let's say you can walk down the street a minute, or go out and have a fresh air break, or you may not have a lot of things available to you because a lot of us don't right now because of the situations, and they're all varied. Not Nobody has it any better than the other person, and I'd like everybody invite you into the pool here and understand that just because, like I had somebody tell me earlier today, oh, because Florida has had everything lifted and it's so much better. Just because I'm in Florida doesn't make everything so much better. I'm surrounded by every horrible driver on the planet, number one. And number two, uh, mask laws, well, there aren't a law, but you still have to wear a mask everywhere. And you don't want to be everywhere other people are. You just don't, because there's stupid everywhere. And that's not being negative, it's just correct.
no, you're right about that, but I think you have a real point in focusing on what you can do. And I think
Yes.
that humanity, as a good portion, has lost hope. And the
Hmm.
thing is, I think we need to realize, as being a human being, that you could walk out your door and get hit by a bus tomorrow.
Yep. Or right
Nobody,
now.
yeah, that's what I
Why
mean. But
wait?
yes, nobody knows the future. Yes, there's a few gifted people that may be able to see one path. But what I'm saying is, all we really have is this moment and living in the now, right? So
Hmm.
thinking towards the future or whatever it may be, and it gets depressing, it makes you angry, whatever it may be, right? Even if we
Hmm.
were back the way things were before, it's really no different. You didn't know what was going to really happen tomorrow or the next day or the next day or the next day. Yes, we're in a period of transition. But here's a little bit of the fight in me, anyways, that I like to share is, so if we really look at that theory that I just put out there, that this is designed to keep us in this low vibrational energy, how about we don't give them what they want? It's the same with the paranormal. When there's a negative entity, we don't give it the energy. We don't feed it with lower vibrational energy. Same thing, just a different animal. Let's not give them what they want, right? Let's fight back. If this is a way to fight back, and it sounds crazy, fighting back by being positive, raising your vibration.
Mhm.
But you know what? Not anything else is really happening or really making a lot of changes. Certain places are, yes, like you suggested, people thinking life is roses and cherries because you've had the emergency ban lifted in Florida. Not a heck of a lot has changed. Okay,
Yep.
a bit, but not a lot. Maybe a label, a few things, and you've got a few things back that maybe the rest of the world doesn't, but we're still in a big amount of change. So, what would be the problem with trying something different? And if we
Mhm.
did it collectively, what could happen? What an experiment, right?
Yeah, and also, like Laura Lee just said, what an experiment. Experiment. We invite you to experiment with stuff.
Mhm.
And you shouldn't need that invite. You should just know, hey, I could empty out my makeup bag at any point and just do whatever I want because nobody cares. The only person that really cares is you. And that's the good thing that matters. So
Me, parents.
yeah, you should be doing the things that you want to do. Like, have you ever just been bored and played with your makeup for y'all that wear makeup? You know, or
I can see
um,
Zach doing that.
yeah, Zach, totally get into your fiance's makeup bag and go for it, bro. Uh, let us know what she does when you do that. But I'm thinking she's probably gonna be none too thrilled about that, but I don't know.
She's pretty cool. She's been posting some beautiful pictures, new makeup looks and stuff. I want to read these comments really quick, Sarah, because they go with what we're saying. Zach said, I'm collecting stories from my past to use in the futures in a future stand-up routine. Right on, Zach. I'm going to be buying tickets if I can never get out of Canada, or I'll watch you online if you're online. He says, my
Right?
favorite so far is a time where I got into a fight over a golf ball when I was 6. Oh, we got to hear this story. But the part I wanted to share, Shannon said this. I have noticed in the past year, people are just so mean to each other. It's because they're taking out what they're going through on other people. That's the way I really see it, Shannon. But she also says, with comments on social media, we have had trolls, but now it just seems like everyone feels the need to attack others. And I could not agree more with you, Shannon. I'm sure Sarah can too, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she had muted. But the thing is that this is why we started talking about this because it's happening everywhere. Like Sarah, I meant to tell you this before we went on live. I don't know if it's me or you, but every time I post a show on Instagram, somebody goes to both because I tag both of us in both of them, right?
Mhm.
Somebody goes to both my Instagram profiles and constantly chooses to promote their music channel, and it's always a different person. Go buy this. Like, I don't know, like, why would you do that? Like, why? Like, they got one of us tagged because they know right away when we post, and
Yeah, that is a dick move, guys.
yeah,
Seriously.
yeah. Well, I just delete
We
report
we
them.
don't go on your websites and post our podcast or any other broadcast that we do or any of our craft works or anything like that. But why would you go? Why do people do that? And it's not the first time we've heard of it either. Because remember when Facebook was a new thing, and you also had it was kind of like MySpace in a way in the beginning, where all of these bands were trying to friend you and try to post their videos or whatever to your site.
No,
It's
this
like
is just always
rude,
Link. It's the same
rude.
person on both profiles, and I've known now to wait because it will go. It must be a bot or something. So they've either attached themselves to me or you. Now, I'll knock on wood. I don't think it's been with my show, so I think it's with both what you and I do together, tag together.
Mhm.
Meaning to tell you this because they did it again tonight. So I'm ready for them. I'm waiting. I don't even get angry. It's like, okay, when you get a post? Okay, yeah, it's been about 47 seconds. Yep. Okay, click. Spam. Block.
Mhm.
But why?
Poor thing. What the heck?
I know.
You just can't, what the heck, guys? It's like we try to be uplifting to people and stuff like that, but when you go out of your way to be a dick, that's when I have a problem. And by the way, dick is not a bad word. You can look it up in Madam Webster's dictionary, you lovely little MFer. But anyways, and don't be hating on dicks because they have their place too. But at the same time, just don't be one. Just don't be one. Don't go out of your way to decide
Yeah.
to just go ahead and elect to be a douchewagon. I mean, as much as Emmy, The
Everything,
puppy.
everybody. She's come to make her nightly lap dog visit. Oh, okay, go.
She's such a big girl.
That's it, girl.
See?
Mhm. So we had a good laugh, and I'm going to share this because we're trying to uplift you guys, not just lecture at you here or anything. And I'm hoping
No,
some tips that will be helpful to somebody that may be listening to this.
but not just the tip.
but my dog is in heat because the vet has been closed.
Yummy.
To bring her in to get her fixed, and she is getting fixed. So what did the Dell do before his show while Sarah and I were talking? He yells, "Oh, is that you?"
Oh
The dog passed gas, and he decided to blame it on me. So Sarah and I were laughing our butts off about it. It was much funnier in the moment,
Yes. But it was hilarious. It's like, yeah, totally. For as long as I've known Laura, I don't think she ever would be.
Comments I made.
Yeah, she's totally going to be blowing gas as she passes by you. I don't think so. Number one. Number two, I think she'd wait for a more opportune moment to actually do that if she were to actually do that. I'm just saying, but
It literally smelled like 1,000 demons had just deposited and filled the air. It was that bad. And that's
Jesus.
what I said. It's not radio friendly what I said, but let's just say I had quite the comeback for it. Like, seriously. That has ever come out of me. That was from the dog. Zach says, Jamie, that's his fiance. He told me it was okay to say her name before. He says she's used to my dirty sense of humor, so nothing surprises her anymore. And
good girl.
Yeah. And she says, Zach, if you do it, meaning I think the makeup, please take pictures, LOL.
And put everything back where you found it, right?
Yeah. That's really cool, actually. Yeah, she's on my friends list, Jamie. She's really, really cool. And these two usually do well. I don't know if you're able to. I think you are where you're in on the West Coast in the US. I won't say exactly where you are, Zach. You can put that in the chat if you want. But they go out to brunch and they share these cool pictures. And
they're so cute. It makes you want to vomit.
No, positive, Sarah.
But they're so cute. Zachy and his girl.
She is a nice girl. I like her.
They are so sweet and cute.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I let Shannon know. Shannon texted me. She said, I got to be there because I was thinking about you today, Shannon, actually. And folks, just so you know that we do involve people that come to our chat. Our UPRN channel is defunct at the moment. YouTube decided to take it down. So I know our dear Joe Montaldo is fighting with them about that. So where you can find this, where we're talking and you can be part of the conversation, because we like to involve you in our show, is over on the UFO Paranormal radio channel on YouTube. We have a secondary channel now. It's called UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials. I don't think there's some archives uploaded there. I'm still having a heck of a time trying to find it. I think the laptop it's easier, but those will be our two main YouTube channels. So come on over and join us because, right, Sarah, we love making you guys part of our Tripping the Void family.
Yes.
Definitely. So, hello. Hi, my son. You guys have seen him before. He's popped over. Oh, Michelle's over on Facebook. Michelle, if you can pop over on YouTube. We've had you here before, Michelle Pratt. She likes to chat and add a lot of great comments and content. Yeah, you may not have known Michelle. Sorry about that. We usually started off that way and we just got going, right, Sarah? And forgot. So she's in Australia, I think, too. So you guys almost become like part of our family. And I don't know, Sarah and I talked about this because we've always done shows together from the second we've met. We've always been on our old network.
We're kind of stuck with each other. And so you guys are essentially stuck with both of us. So it's going to be Sarah Lee all the time.
Yeah, but we've always... Yeah, that's what Joe nicknamed us for those who just listening time. And we've always said, like, when you go to a live and somebody's got a chat box going right by, like they can see it. And I get it. Like if you're super popular, even on slow mode, it's just like flying by. No, you can't see the comments. But when you've got room and you're able to see, it's, and you're adding some great comments like you guys are. And nobody acknowledges you or reads your comments. Maybe it's my ego. I don't know. But it's like, why am I here? Like, I appreciate what you're putting out there. But if you want people to be part of the discussion and you're asking for it, Share.
Yes, and I've got to thank Laura Lee for actually being able to read the comments, because the reason I don't read the comments is because I actually cannot see the comments. So
Mhm.
she's my seeing eye person besides my bestie. So there you
I
go.
don't. Oh, I forgot. Like I said, it's May the 4th be with you. So my
Yes,
little dude is joining us tonight, my baby.
her little love child,
Yes, my little man.
Brogan.
He's so cute. Oh, he's so adorable. I just love him. So, for those of you that are Star Wars fans, and then tomorrow's de Mayo. So, or de
Cinco
Mayo.
de Mayo, which I don't know why we even celebrate that holiday, because that's another appropriation situation. Because Cinco de Mayo it's kind of like a Mexican Independence Day, but that was also kind of ranks up there with the Alamo, which not a real positive vibe, but at the same time, woo.
Michelle found us. Yay, Michelle. She says, G'day. So I'm glad that she found us. Sorry about that, Michelle. I forget because we can see all the chat streams on StreamYard, but we can't answer over there because we're also on Twitch. We are on 4 Facebook pages. There's UPRN, News on the Flip Side. I can't remember the other two right now off the moment. Can you, Sarah?
Mm-mm.
I think one's is Joe Montaldo's page, UFO Undercover, and there's one other one. But you can see us on Facebook, or if you follow us or are friends with us on Facebook, you can, because we both post the banners and the links, so you can see the link to Facebook is probably playing over on Facebook right now too. So. Mhm. Oh, Michelle goes, dang. And I had some great comments too. I saw some of your comments, but when I saw you there and it said Facebook, that's why I went, oh crap, she probably doesn't know about the new where we are now. So,
Nice.
so hang on here. I don't know why people message you when they know you're live, right? My kid just messaged me with a picture.
Nice.
Yeah, Sarah and I, never mind that we share a Nagy Spirit Guide. We found out that both of our kids, which are born in the same month, we did not know each other when we had children.
No.
They're very close in age, I think within a year. They have
Mm-hmm.
just bought their first houses and almost like
Yes.
the same age of the house, too, right, Sarah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
congratulations, kids.
Yes. Yes. So, but we know you guys love when we talk about the paranormal. Michelle says, good day, all. So I wanted to add that. But my kid actually mentioned to me and his partner, they were here to sign. They did their final walkthrough because they get possession of the house in the next week and a half, and they live out of the country. No, they live out of the city, a couple hours. Anyways, they had mentioned the age of the house, and it's 128 years old, and they both are aware of the paranormal. So I think I said to Sarah, we had a chance to talk about this. We'll definitely be doing a house cleansing. They had asked us to, but you can do that by distance. And then I said to Sarah, and they've been looking at antique furniture. I said, are you trying to bring something paranormal in? Right?
Right.
Yes, yes. And well, you think, right? Like, what kind of history does a house have that has 128 years behind it? I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and it's not just that, and the people, the energy from the previous owners, and whatever has happened in there, and whatever happened in the ground previous to the building of the home, and all of those other things. And it's not trying to be negative. It's like, oh, you have to take all of that in and go, wow.
Mhm.
It's like, and how do you deal? It's like my daughter's place is, I don't know what your son's place looks like, but my daughter's is definitely, they're going to be doing some renovations. It's got a basement, and I don't know if you know anything about North Carolina,
Mm-mm.
but
Not a lot.
basements in North Carolina, woo, like they got their work cut out for them. So it's definitely one of those things that they're going to be working on. They're probably for the next 20 years, because as you know, being a homeowner yourself, Laura, in your last place,
Mm-hmm.
that working on a home is a constant thing. So
Constant. And the thing is, you know what? I really don't miss owning a home because with all the responsibility, anything breaks, that's on you. I rent. I have no problem with it because you know what? Our tap just broke and we fix a lot of stuff ourselves. We don't ever bother the office because you know what? They got I think there's like 107. It's a huge area here, so it's like 175 different residences that are within this townhouse place that we live,
Hmm.
and they get a lot of requests. So our tap was leaking. So I know the Dell called them and just said, you know what? I know you guys have some taps. I've seen them. Why don't just send one over? I'll put it in. You don't need to come. You don't need to do it. It's not that we don't want them in here. They were in to clean out the vents, but anything breaks, anything's wrong, it's on them. I don't have to pay
Hmm.
property taxes. I don't have to do all that stuff. And I don't miss it. I really, really
Hmm.
don't miss it.
Yeah.
Backyard's small. You've seen it. It's like a
Mhm.
little postage stamp, enough for the dog. There's a little bit of grass. It doesn't need to be cut, but they cut it too anyways. So we don't have to worry about cutting the grass. So I love it.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I lease here in Southwest Florida is because hurricanes and other weather anomalies, besides the fact that a lot of things here, the ground does not perk,
Mhm.
which means that it floods. And so I don't want to deal with that. I would rather, pay lease and not have to worry about junk like that. That's my personal.
Well, actually, Michelle had a good point, question and comment here. She said, she mentioned nice. My home in Australia is over 130 years old, but she had a good comment here. She said, I wonder with the earth being as old as it is, that's a lot of energy buried. We don't think about that. It's true.
Hmm.
What happened on and I even often think about, this is going to sound, I'm being quite the conspiracy theorist tonight, but I'm owning it because our dear Joe Montaldo, who owns UPRN, has many of his own shows and he produces all of us. So he makes our job
Hmm.
easy. So thank you, Joe. He calls me conspiracy princess because somebody he knows is even more conspiracy than me. And the thing is, I'm not a crazy conspiracy theorist. Before I share anything, I usually do try to look it up so that other people could find it themselves and verify it. Sometimes there's crazy stuff that I talk about, but with the earth, what do we even know what's underneath it? The dumps that are around that are they're deep underground facilities that they're finding. And again, you'll hear people say that's just a conspiracy theory. Really? Why do we see all these sinkholes that come out of nowhere? And I've seen pictures. I don't know about you guys, but I've seen pictures of the stuff that's underneath the ground. How about you, Sarah?
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. I've seen lots of things that are.
Mhm.
And how do we know that some of that stuff wasn't there previously? Because we don't,
Mhm.
because the consciousness that we have is current. So we don't know how far it goes back sometimes. And so even with carbon dating, the carbon dating
Yeah.
um, has been inadmissible in some cases because they're like, well, we can't actually prove that.
Where I was going to go with this, sorry, my mind works a million miles a minute, and then I think
Mhm.
afterwards, oh God, I didn't say what I was going to say. I almost believe, you look at the pyramids, you look at a lot of these structures that are out there, that thousands of years ago, that there was a much more evolved civilization than we've ever been led to believe.
Mhm.
Because you look at, like, they've looked at some of the things that have been built. How were they built? If we're really led to believe the civilization that they were built in, there's no tool marks or anything that they're expecting that would be relative to that time period. So how did they do it? Right? How did they do it?
Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's the thing is that the hows and the wheres are sometimes wilder than the dreams that we have about how they would actually be.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's a lot of speculation, but there's also the stories about the possibilities of how things were created or done. And
Uh-huh.
um, as fantastical as some of those things may sound, I believe there's some truth to a lot of them. And so that brings us back into the metaphysical paranormal, which is, well, where I like to hang out.
Me too.
And, well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like a lot of people are like, that's completely impossible and preposterous. It's like,
Hmm.
well, to put it in a nutshell, it's like if even if you don't believe in God, but you're breathing air and you don't know anything about the air you're breathing, you can't see it either, but
Hmm.
you believe it's there, right?
Tomorrow.
So,
Can you see tomorrow?
right.
No.
But tomorrow's going to come whether or not you wanted to, and that's in 54 minutes.
Mhm.
So, at least for us, in 54 minutes, and so you don't have to believe in tomorrow, but tomorrow's going to happen in your face, whether you want it or not.
Mhm. Actually, there's some good comments here, and I love what Zach said here. He said, I prefer the term conspiracy realist. And I really like that, Zach, because Dell and I really were having a conversation about this because I was saying I prefer his show is labeled conspiracy theory. And to me, I've always hated that term because we know where it's come from. It was developed pretty well around the JFK assassination. It was put out there to kind of put off stories that people believe what really happened. And then they got labeled a conspiracy theorist, right? Well, now, so I was saying truth seeker or truth seeking, and he goes, Laura, truthers, truth seeking, truth, that's being demonized now. Like that, oh yeah, there's a truther, there's a truth seeker, there's someone trying to find their truth. And so what's the word that you use? And I actually like that, conspiracy realist. I also like what Michelle said here. She said, I see the earth as a clay ball. Let's make something new. And then she added, hi, I'm your tomorrow, LOL. And you are, Michelle, because you're way ahead of us in Australia.
Yeah, you're in the future, Michelle. So here you go.
Yeah.
So Michelle can tell you that tomorrow exists because she's actually standing in it right now.
Yes, tomorrow will be here. But I like that she said that. Like, let's look at the earth as a clay ball. Kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying. What if things have been designed to keep us in this low vibrational energy state? But if it's a clay ball, we can mold it into whatever we want. Like she said, let's make it into something new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things are changing, but why not? Let's mold it into something positive.
Yeah, mold it into something that's more malleable or palatable to other people and yourself. It's like, oh, I don't like this right now, but why don't I make it in a way that's a little easier for not only myself to understand, but easier to accept for others. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying treat everything with kid gloves, but at the same time, why don't you try to make the world a little bit better in small ways? I'm not saying go out of your way and break your neck. I'm saying, my usual, don't be a jerk about it. Just try to make it better.
Yeah, little changes. And you know what? I just had this thought since we said we were going to go all, you guys know us, we go all around the world and back again.
Yeah.
But thinking about the paranormal. Now just imagine if we were actually able to raise globally that vibrational energy, what would happen to the negative and the paranormal?
No, technically it still would exist.
It would exist. Yes, I agree. It would not disappear.
It would, because energy doesn't dissipate. Absolutely. And so there's always going to be negative. As much as we want to believe in the fluffy bunnies and the cute and fluffy bunnies, and they're going to be ad infinitum, but there's always going to be that booger part.
I was thinking about food for them from energy, right?
Like, yeah.
Would it be palatable? You are absolutely right, 100%. I agree with you. But would it be very palatable to them to remain in the places, the dark shadows, the light, even wherever they exist now, if it wasn't quite as palatable energy-wise? Because right now it has got to be a party zone central for what's going on globally, energy-wise, right here, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing is that, and I like to remind people, because you already know, Laura, because I say it a lot, is that when Laura says lower vibrational, by the way, as a human, you are lower vibrational. And so, and actually you're under demonic energy, just so that you know. So let's make that immaculately clear. And so you are a lower vibrational energy source. So the more that you crawl on your belly and sit in your own filth, the more you're going to just sink lower and lower, and you're just going to add to the negativity. So if we boost that, or you boost yourself actively every single chance that you can get, you're still going to get yourself higher, but you're going to get yourself out of that ditch that you keep sliding yourself back into, which we both know is easy to keep finding yourself in. But the lower you think you are, the lower you're going to sink. But the higher you think you can get, the better you're going to be at, trying to, raise yourself. And so would there be more food or less food for them to have? It just depends, because things feed on more surprising things that you would think. It's not just the things that you would think would be the most negative. It's other stuff too.
I meant more less palatable because I can't disagree with you. And anybody that would like to disagree with that, what you said, think about it. How many people have had attachments or
Hmm.
whatever? Why do you think it's that easy for something like that to do that? Right? What
Hmm.
I meant is, yeah, they're never going to go away. It's not just energy that they're here. I agree. But there are some that, yeah, maybe what I'm thinking, where I'm going with this is that it would, and when I say less palatable, that it's not as easy as it is right now, is where I'm going with this. That it's not quite as easy as it, because it's pretty darn easy. Something just going by, drop her in, whatever. We've had them, you've had them, because they're around. And the same thing I've always said that I love that you say, Sarah, is I just love when people say, well, 3 a.m. is the bewitching hour. It's always 3 a.m. somewhere, first of
I
all.
know
Well,
exactly. Like it's always 12 o'clock somewhere. Really, guys?
it's always 5 p.m. somewhere for those that like to have a cocktail. But the thing what
Hmm.
I'm saying is, and I've always loved that you've said this, Sarah, is people have this false sense of security when the lights
Hmm.
are on or it's daylight, that there's nothing untoward in the way of an entity or a being. There's always stuff around, and we just have this false sense of security, right? And we don't
Hmm.
pay attention like we might when it's quiet and it's dark and we're already creeped out and we're listening to every noise.
Exactly. When you're listening to every noise, and because I have doors that open and close themselves, I've got
Mhm.
um, lots of things that like to act out. And so when you are where you are with that and realize that it's not just the dark, it's the light too. There's stuff that hangs out during the daytime that you're not even aware of.
Mhm. Shannon had a good question. I was going to type it to her, but I'll read
Excuse
it
me.
to you. She said, Laura Lee and Seraphine, have either or both of you noticed an increase in paranormal events since this all started? Yes, 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 and yes. What's your answer, Sarah?
Considering the fact that I live in kind of a haunted museum situation, yeah. But I think part of it as well is that because people have been quarantining and stuff, you're seeing a lot more because you're more awake to the experience because you're bored AF. I
Mhm.
mean, you're more alert because you're looking for stuff to do, or let's say you're sitting there doing something completely normal and you'll notice that, wait a minute, it's like, like let's say today, for some reason, I had headphones that I normally use when I play Call of Duty were nowhere to be found, which there was no reason for them to be gone anywhere.
Mhm.
And I couldn't find them for hours, and then all of a sudden they just showed up, which is freaking weird.
I,
And which isn't unusual for here, but it's still annoying.
I know. Hiding it, I think they really do take it wherever they take it, and then it comes
Hmm.
back when they feel like they've had enough fun. But I've had this question, and I'm going to put it out there, and I'll read because Shannon put a little joke here that's cute. But I've had people say, including Joe, well, what do you think all these people that have passed away because of what's been going on? Are they angry? Is this what's leading to this? Because a lot of people in the paranormal I've been finding have been saying they feel like there's an increase, and that was what Shannon had added in part of this comment. But to me, when we pass away, um, it has to be your time. Okay, like whether this has been built into your timeline or as an exit point, whatever it may be. I truly believe that after studying near death experiences for 40 years. So it's not like this was a surprise. You were taken before your time. I don't know if I'm being clear about that. I don't know what's your thoughts on that, Sarah, because I don't think it's an accident and you were taken unexpectedly. Like it happens for a reason, right? And I'm not being
Yeah.
unemotional about it or crude or rude about it. What I'm saying is that was the exit point that was designed that that person it was either planned or is and the exit point I'm talking about is lots of times people plan in exit points. They have a difficult life ahead of them and not knowing whether maybe you're going to be able to complete what's going on. I really believe, like, you'll hear people that maybe have had a near fatal car accident or this or that, right? And they survive
Mhm.
it. Could that have been a built in exit point, right? Because especially when you hear people's accounts, and not everybody's are all fluffy bunnies, I will agree, but a lot of people will hear it's not your time, you need to go back.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I believe that because some people are thinking, oh my gosh, with the inundation of all these people that are passing over for this or that reason. And um, I also truly believe through research, and it's not just I know that I know, because part of it is I know that I know, but through research, I firmly believe that it just is what it is. And some of it is their increased activity. Well, maybe, but we're noticing it more as there are more going to be disgruntled dead people, not in so much as there were before. They're going to be the same because I also believe that it's not your entire soul that stays here. It's only a piece of it. So, um, and when you think about it, it really makes sense that it's not because you can't. There's too many factors. But without putting too fine of a point on it, um, but the thing is that understanding that people pass over, like this whole situation, that spiritually people knew that this was going to happen spiritually, and so everything in an event, in and of itself, whether you believe it or not, is a spiritual action. That everything that happens to your spirit man is a spiritual action in a human form. So because you are a spirit having a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
So where you are and where you're going is sometimes, a lot of times, predetermined. There isn't really any accidents.
Exactly. That's where I was going with that. You said that beautifully. Now, Shannon adds, personally, she said, personally, I have meaning more paranormal activity. And she says, in this past year, more than I ever have. And she's a nurse. And she said, mind you, I had the remedy. So maybe this is why. And then she said, LMAO, kidding, or the jab. No, that's not the reason why. And then Michelle says, interesting, Shannon. I bet you have some great stuff to talk. As Shannon had said, I'm a long term care nurse and I cannot get over the increase in activity in our building. And it's a hospital. So it's a long term care facility, if I'm right, Shannon. It's if I say St. Joe's, nobody's around the world here is going to know what St. Joe's is, but it used to be an active hospital. But again, are you paying more attention? I don't think so, because as a nurse, you're pretty busy. So if you're noticing strange, odd things, I'm even writing a book about this from nurses' perspectives, what we see, because we're around death, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
just part of life. The gentleman I had on last night was talking about past lives, and I'd never even considered this, but he said a lot of people that he works with, he's been doing it for 29 years over in the UK, that a lot of people that he works with to help, that eventually they no longer have a fear of death because he takes them back and to the point of where something has come through in this lifetime. And it usually involves in the manner that they've passed away. And you carry that energy forward here, right? That no longer serves you. You don't need that. That's what he helps release. And he was actually quite realistic compared to previous people I've talked to before about past life regressions. It was a really interesting perspective, but I don't think I'd ever heard that a lot of people that have really gone through this type of, because I've gone through it myself with another person I had on my show, but I'd never heard that. Have you heard that before, Sarah?
Heard which?
That you no longer have a fear of death when you go through with a therapist that, say, releases things from your previous death, and he doesn't plan on bringing you to your death. It just, he'll ask you in light hypnosis, his
Mm-hmm.
person he's working with, you know, he'll ask the subconscious how many past lives are involved in this problem this person's coming to see me for. The person might say 8. So take me back to the furthest back in these lives that are involved in this issue. And they'll go back and they experience the death. Like it's usually the death experience that is causing what we're carrying forward, whether it may be a phobia, unexplained pain, all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd never heard that. So that I know that people that have near death experiences, and this is mostly with people that are positive, that they have no, with a positive experience, they don't have a fear of dying at all. Because we go on forever.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I've heard of that. And people being there's new therapies where people are being released of the issues that they have currently with different therapies that are actually in person,
Mm-hmm.
where it's actively activating your ability to stave off different um, actions and reactions in yourself to keep your anxiety at bay, like a lot of people who suffer from severe PTSD and things like that. But I actually read, like a couple of years ago, there was somebody doing breakthroughs with people that were having, that they were believing having issues from their previous lives, if you are to believe in reincarnation, which I believe is quite the possibility because of all of the things that seem to happen and why we would have recollections of things that we would have never learned, or children, like we're talking about those children that,
Right, girl, you read my
yeah,
mind because that's my one reason why I believe in it, because
that's,
children.
yeah, exactly, like that kid who was a World War II pilot who could actually identify his previous children who are alive, and that is miraculous. Or that kid who was a reincarnation of a Dalai Lama who happened to be reborn in the United States in San Francisco, of all places, and was recognized because he recognized somebody in an open market who was part of the monastery that he previously belonged to. And that person would normally not be in that open market in San Francisco, but that person had flown there to be a guest speaker at something, and that kid noticed him, which is like, how would a 6-year-old child, okay, with the attention span of a regular 6-year-old child, notice somebody from not only across the marketplace, but be able to call them out by name?
Yeah. And there's many stories of this. I had somebody message me personally today, and what they were experiencing, what they were sharing with what their now 13-year-old was experiencing as a 2-year-old, and the remarkable, recall when it came to cars and knowing how cars worked and having night terrors and many things that go along with this, that many children that remember past lives experience. And he was asking me, could this be possible? I said, well, I need to know a lot more. But I shared many of these stories I've come across because I really find this very fascinating. I've been studying this as well for a couple of years. And the one that always got me was the child that was a reincarnated version of somebody that was murdered over in India. And when he was born, he had a very strange birthmark. I believe it was on his head. And this murder was never solved. And as he became more verbal, probably started about 2.5, 3, he kept telling his parents he missed his other family and my wife and my children. And this was apparently a town over in India, quite a few towns over. This child had never been there. And the parents finally gave in and went to visit this town. This kid knew where he was going, the name of the streets. They went and met with the family that supposedly was his wife. He knew her by name. He knew the children. He'd never seen them. He then named the man that murdered him, and he had been, somebody had taken like a machete, this man, and had hit him in the head and killed him where the birthmark was. This is where he actually was the blow that caused his death. He showed the police where the murder weapon was, identified his murderer, and this murder had never been solved. The man that committed it actually, he confessed. So how did this kid know all this stuff? And there's countless stories like this.
Yes.
So for me, that's my biggest convincer, because as these children get older, it seems to be around puberty, they start to forget a lot of these details. And by the time they usually hit about their early 20s, late teens, they pretty well let a lot of this go. So how does this happen? It's unexplainable in any other way.
Yeah, and you go from the inexplicable to the fabulous and the fantastical. And the more we add to that, the miraculous. And you can't bat an eyelash at it. It's just the truth sometimes. In fact, most times. And the thing that makes it even a greater thing is that it's little kids. Like, with those who understand, who've been around little kids, it's really interesting to hear from these people. Yeah. You know, like parents are like, I don't know my kid, you know, and to be that parent, you've got to wonder, because it's like, yeah, I birthed this kid, I carried him for 9 months, and he's not even my kid. He's somebody entirely different. So that just proves the theory that we're we're souls wandering around having a human experience. So
Mm-hmm.
even if they're recycled or not, I mean, we're all pieces of puzzles that are walking around for other people to solve. It's like somebody has your piece, I have your piece. Even if you only see me at 7-Eleven for 6 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you were able to get that one piece and you weren't aware of it. But then you have those more profound interactions that are more like divine
Mm-hmm.
stops, where you get more of a piece and it's actually quite a large chunk, let's say a 20% chunk of something that you were looking for.
Well, I think that you and I,
Divine appointments.
oh, go ahead, Sarah. Sorry, I thought there was a pause. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say like a divine appointment where you don't know that's going to happen, but you need to keep those divine appointments and you need to be available for those divine appointments.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you 100%. Of what I was going to say is I believe you and I have had many past lives together. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Sarah and I had 15 seconds to meet each other, and we've been
Yep.
besties ever since. And it was through a scheduling snafu that I met her. I'd never done radio before. I had 2 days, and all heck broke loose 10 minutes before. Many things happened to support me during that, including one of our friends happened to call in because I thought I was going to have to talk for 2 hours, but I was supposed to have my producer, and they didn't. 10 minutes before, they couldn't. I had nothing. I had no clue what I was doing. And then because of the scheduling snafu, your show was supposed to start while mine was going. I was supposed to be leaving and you come on, we talk for 15 seconds and you say, do you want to join me? And there's a match made in heaven for how many years now? And I
Quite
had
well.
like many lifetimes ago. I know I did for many
Yeah.
lifetimes, probably. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you can't, it's like one of those things. It's like if you want to have a show premise, I mean, seriously, there's a lot of stuff that Lauralee and I have shared that you guys aren't privy to, where we know interactions or we know things that have happened between us, but we're not in the same, we're not even the same part of the of the world, because she's in northern Canada and I'm as far south as you can be without being in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So, or Mexico.
Yeah. And what were the chances of that happening, of us meeting? Even the fact that I have a friend that's a very gifted medium, I'm trying to get him on here, but he works Monday nights. I will get him on. You guys will love him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was chatting with him. He can communicate. I'm learning how to communicate. My kids can do it. It's not one of my natural gifts. But I was having a problem with Emmy, who you saw. She loved the dog that used to live next door. They're almost the same age. She had gone out to our camp, my mother-in-law's camp, and she had a little Shih Tzu that didn't like dogs. And this is where all her barking has started. And she was getting really nasty with the puppy next door. And there's only a couple months between them. They loved each other before. He was able to tell me what was going on. And just as an aside, he says to me, my, is your dog ever chatty? Because she wasn't barking, he could hear her. And I said, well, look at her mother. But the really interesting part, because my eldest has always been able to communicate with animals, he didn't know this. And when he was here this weekend, he goes, Mom, Emmy will not shut up. And he meant energetically, like he just said, she's constantly talking. And we all get animals for a reason. But why I mention this is, he was not only able to tell me what the issue was, not knowing a thing about this dog, not knowing a thing about my dog, and he was right. What he suggested worked. But what did he say to me? I'm trying to think. Oh, I mentioned about you and I, Sarah, sharing a Negi spirit guide. And he told me who this woman, it was a woman. He described what she was wearing and that it was something to do with me and you way back in the 1800s that we now share this woman. And I don't know if I told you the name, Sarah, off the air, but I believe he thought it was either like a Pauline or a Polly. He kept asking me, does that mean anything to you? And I said, no. And I know I asked you, Sarah, and as far as we know, we don't know why, but he said, indeed, we did share a spirit guide. And I believe him because he's been right.
That's funny because I've never heard the name before, and it's funny because sometimes I refer to her as Pollyanna.
Oh my God!
All right, Pollyanna, knock it off. Because I think when I see her in my mind, I think of like a frantic Tinkerbell-like spirit, but a little more hardcore. but cracked out on coffee or something like that, because she's always like frantic, everything's on fire, like, you need to do this now. It's like, I hear you, but stop.
Or will not most lovingly, sometimes a little bit frenetically, yes, sometimes with some not anger but pushiness. That's why we call her the naggy spirit guide.
Yeah.
And like I said, Sarah will say stuff like, I kept saying, you're reading my mind. I was just thinking that. I was about to add it and Sarah just said it.
It was like, stop it. It's like, I will get to you. Just give me a minute.
Yes, we will do it. How can I forget? You're repeating it every 30 seconds to a minute. And the thing is, and I just take this for granted that everybody knows what guides are that are, watching or listening. And I was talking to somebody, I had a bunch of people, I told her, that reached out today and they needed things. And so, yes, we were messaging back and forth. And it's somebody I've known for quite a few years. And they were asking me questions about a 5G Wi-Fi router they had recently acquired. And we were talking about that. And we got into, the router can't go anywhere. How do I cope with this? And they'd never used crystals. So I was talking about shungite, which is supposed to be very good at blocking it. And then orgonite, which I am making, but I haven't perfected yet. I still need to make a couple more pieces and then I'll be putting it out there, I told them. But and I mentioned about, you can always work with your guides. And I was talking about ways to raise, this has been this conversation with so many people about how to raise your vibration, how to basically detox, get rid of some of this negativity. And they said, guides, I don't know if I've ever heard that before. They were talking about their third eye though, right? So I just assumed, and they said they were empathic and they'd never heard of a guide before. So for those of you who may not know, whether you believe in them or not, you have helpers here. You are never alone. And they are here to help you succeed at the reason why you are here. And no, you are not here by accident. None of us.
Exactly. And I have to add, because you probably already think it, not all of them are angels. A lot of them are
That's
spirits.
why I did not say that, because I was going to say, and angels. And that's exactly what I heard was, and no, I'm not hearing voices. It's that inner voice we hear, but you know the difference.
Then we both need medication, Lord.
Yeah, we both need medication.
just give us matching like
hospital gowns.
Yeah, hospital gowns, and so jackets, straight jackets, so we can hug ourselves all day. And, give us some of those good drugs.
But it's true. So I'm very clairaudient. So, and Sarah is too. So you can hear your guides. So, and then the question they had asked me was, and we all ask it, I remember asking it years ago when I started on this path, how can I improve my connection to my third eye? How do I meet my guides? How do I know? All these questions. And I said, honey, that's a question I cannot answer for you in 2 minutes. That's going to be a whole different one. But they're there. And just so you know, and be careful what's around you. You'll know if it's your guides, because if something you hear, feel, sense, or whatever it may be with one of the clairs, as they're called, it will be meant for your highest good. It will be meant in love. They may be firm, might be a bit of anger, but it will always be meant for your highest good. If not, that is not your guides, and you do not want to be doing this, which is giving permission to your guides to work more closely with you. And the reason why is they respect the fact that we're here for a reason. And this person in particular had mentioned, I know there's two, was it beings, she or spirits around me, and they've been around me my whole life. Would that be my guides? I said, absolutely. And you probably have many more that come in different scenarios. But I said, they respect that you have free will. And yes, that's a whole different show. Some people will argue we don't have free will. But the point, yes, you can make a decision. And right, it may not be the right decision. There may be consequences, but we always have a choice. And part of that is if they can't intercede and override what your choice is. The only time I've seen it happen, and she happened to give me this example herself, was say something happened and it was an accident that was, and you were going to lose your life. It was a split second, something happened. I've seen video footage. I've heard many stories where something will happen to intercede so that you do not die. That is exactly what she said happened to her. And she always wondered if it was these beings that she's always known have been with her. Is that, I guess, she didn't get into a lot of detail, but the way it sounds like was whether she was going to step off a curb or something. And she heard a voice telling her to stop, step back. And when she did, a transport went right by. Had she stepped out, she would have been dead. That's them interceding. And no, you don't need to, not necessarily, could have been something else, but I like to believe it's your guides, especially if you're aware that you have these beings here to help you. So you have to give them your permission. No, and I said, yeah, you don't want to be sitting in a room going, yes, I give you my permission, because your whole family will look at you like you're completely wackadoo. They can hear you with that inner voice. So when you do get, that's my belief system. So it's not always everybody else's, but I believe this. And again, you have to be very careful what's around you, because if you have something that's negative, you don't want to be given that permission, do you, Sarah?
Well, no, because then you have to give me a phone call or people like me, and then we go, oh, that was dumb now, wasn't it?
That's why I told you how you can usually tell. But there's somebody that didn't know who these beings were with them, just that they'd been around them their whole life. And they figured that they were here maybe to help, but didn't realize. So,
Yes, there's more helpful spirits around than you would think.
yeah, yes.
And like I've come across some really intelligent hauntings. Like once again, when I was with my daughter in North Carolina, when we remember her and I had that one bonfire before my
Yes.
son-in-law got home, and I was talking to one of the spirits on the property, and I made a joke, and the spirit laughed.
I remember hearing
It doesn't always happen. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't always happen. It was hilarious. And, the spirit knew what a cell phone was, which not all of them do.
Was it you telling me? Did you record that, or you were telling
Yeah,
me?
I recorded it.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting, but I believe that person was killed on the property. It's kind of the vibe that I was getting. The person didn't just kill themselves or die. The person,
I remember that. Oh, it was very tragic. Yes, I remember you telling me about that. Yes.
And I believe firmly that if they do an excavation on that property, there's probably more than one body there.
I remember all this now. Yes, you had quite the experience while you were there.
Yeah, and it's like I get touched and stuff by spirits a lot, but then going in the room where my daughter, it's like they actively had one other person actually only ever be in that spare bedroom, and then they put me in there, and I'm like,
of course.
You know what's going to happen. If there's something here, it's probably going to bother me. And my daughter's like, yeah, that's why we put all the quartz right next to you. Like, you little brat. And so I'm laying there, and that first night, remember, I was like getting, and it's not a nice feeling, but this is how it feels. It's like somebody feels you up, like from your hip up to your armpit, and it's getting a little bit too close. And it's like that moment between, am I going to stand here and pretend it doesn't happen, or say, you know what, F off, get off me right now. This is not cool. Because you don't know in the moment what kind of a spirit it is or anything else. You're just kind of in the moment going, ew, this is disgusting, and don't touch me.
I'm going to add this. I was just typing this because, not to cut you off, Sarah, but just so in case anybody else hears this, because Shannon just said, is Emmy in the room with you? Yes. She says, I keep hearing a panting sound. Is anyone else hearing it? I said, yeah, she's in the room, but she's not panting. I'm not hearing it. Are you, Sarah?
No, but they're anyone between the two of us, it could be any one of several things. Like I'm right across from my office that I've got a lot of my haunted objects in. Here comes Docky, her Lorelei.
I love her cats, but Docky's my little cat nephew. I just love him. And he's so cute. Both her cats are so cute. Oh my gosh.
And all your fur babies are cute too.
Well, Shannon, we get EVPs lots, like especially on our other network. We even had a spirit that would swear, that people would hear it, like it would swear, like, and it had quite the nasty mouth on it.
Oh, yes.
So I haven't heard, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what anybody else, if they're still in the chat here. We got 6 people watching. It says, I'm probably one of them because I have YouTube on. But yeah, just because we're not hearing it doesn't mean it's not happening, because we get a lot of EVPs.
Oh yeah,
right?
constantly. And that's the thing is that because the jury's always out on what EVPs actually are and things like that, but
Hmm.
between Lillian and I, because we get so much spiritual interference, it depends. And sometimes it could be, I don't know, psychic, it could be a ghost, it could be a residual, it could be a lot of things between the two places.
Hmm.
So you never know.
Well, Michelle says she has loudspeakers on. She doesn't hear anything. I forgot about that, Shannon. I need to go back because you did give me that. She goes, I gave you the timestamp paper for you to review a few weeks ago, and she did. So I forgot about that. She says she's going to go back and review later. It could very well be because it wouldn't be the first time, like I said, that this has happened. So, and when Sarah's able to be on camera, depending where she is, I think we've
Mhm.
mentioned it before. You may not have heard this, Michelle. By the way, Michelle makes Organite. I said, "Oh, how cool!" She's been doing it for 6 years. Um, Sarah has this doll in the background, and I didn't know this at the time. Her eyes are painted and her mouth. Well, she moves in the background very slowly, but it'll look like her eyes are going blinking, or her mouth will turn up or just go straight. And there's no way physically it should be able to do that, right, Sarah?
Yeah, her face is painted on, yeah.
Hmm. So
Hmm.
she moved her hand and a little bit of an arm, I think. And one time it was even a bit of a foot. And
Hmm.
mhm, yeah, so she does things like that. But Sarah has lots of things like that. So mhm.
Yes. I do have lots of things like that. Like, um, I call her one of the naughty dolls. I've got two of, or actually, I've got three naughty dolls in there. One of them is the worst,
Mhm.
and um, she's kind of. Um, I have her on top of one of my highest shelves right now because she's kind of in trouble, and so it's like, well, you're gonna have to be up there with the other naughty doll because you have been exceptionally naughty.
Mhm. Well, Michelle thinks this is really interesting. She's going to listen with headphones and see if she might be able to hear it better. You might, Michelle. You may just not hear it. Maybe just one person's hearing it, not everybody. That can happen too. Um, but Sarah has the most fantastical, interesting items from previous hauntings. Like you have that piece of the crucifix from um, an exorcism, right? That caused you a bit of trouble when you got that, didn't it? I remember that.
And the first time that I got it, yeah, and this actually is a piece of a crucifix was worn by the priest performing the exorcist, and then since the performing the exorcism, this was a Catholic Church ordained exorcism, so it's a real one. Because anything else is as a deliverance, just so that you know. But
Yeah.
this is actually from a fairly well-known exorcism, which I can't actually say because, well, a friend of mine gave it to me that probably shouldn't have the item,
Mhm.
and so with that, because it's a relic, I actually got it, and it actually fell off of the priest's crucifix, and then was re-blessed, put away for another 20 years, and then before being given to me was blessed again, and then given to me,
Mhm.
and I wear it around my neck.
Hi, baby. He's singing away.
He's on cue, isn't
Shannon goes, maybe it's just me. Sure, make me feel like I'm the crazy person. I said, no, you're not crazy.
he? Nope.
So, no, we should do that with Doc for somebody that's new, and he's making his songs of his people for the rest of
Yes,
the audience to hear, singing
he's
it.
singing the songs of his people. Yes.
Just ignore it, and somebody will say, "Was that a cat?" And I'll say, "I didn't hear a cat. Did you hear a cat?"
I don't know. Well, did you hear a cat?
No, I don't know what you're hearing. I'll have to go back and listen later. No, we would never do that. She
Doc
says,
is very vocal sometimes.
sorry, what's that?
Doc is very vocal. And for those of you who don't know, his name is Doc Holliday. So,
Absolutely adorable. So is Juju. Hmm.
mhm. My little
She's,
pork chop.
yes. And my cat, Sophie, we've nicknamed, I think Sarah, you gave it the nickname, the potato cat, because she looks
Potato
like a
cat.
potato with fur.
she's gone beyond loaf cat to potato cat.
Oh dear Lord, yes, she's big. She lives to eat. She would sell her fur for
But
food.
she's beautiful.
She is a pretty girl. I was going to add, Chad, that she doesn't take it personally. She's going LOL about, sure, make me feel like the crazy person.
No, we're all mad here at this tea party.
Mm-hmm. It is. That's what it is. And you have to be. You know what? But even getting back to our topic, listen, we're having a good laugh here. We're all kind of pulling together. You
Mhm,
guys are sharing things in the chat room, getting to chat. This is what we're talking about. And again, yeah, there's going to be crappy things that, you
mhm,
just need to get it off your chest. I've done it before. We all do. But I don't know, and I'm going to go back to that anagram that I've shared many, 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 many times. And it says think before you posting on social media. And the T stands for before you post. Is it thoughtful? Number two, H, is it helpful? I, is it informative? Does it share some kind of necessary information? N, is it nice? And is it needed? And K, is it kind? And if
mhm.
it's not, you might want to think twice about it because I am seeing people practically going on, and I've seen this actually, people posting what kind of bowel movement they had and then what they had for breakfast and
Oh,
just
geez.
every person, what, start a blog if you want to do that.
A
Because
bathroom vlog?
hey, everybody poops. There was one out there like that. Everybody poops.
Oh,
And I was
really?
teaching my kids. It was quite popular. No, my point is, and a comedian took this on, and it was quite hilarious. His first name was Lachlan, and he was talking about how his grandparents, the pictures from their past told a story. And as a child, the grandmother would pull them out and say, this was your great grandfather, this was whomever. He said, "Can you see us as grandparents and a few years beyond us pulling out their pictures to show their grandchild or great grandchild? And here is a picture of my breakfast. And here's another picture of my breakfast from a different angle. And here's another picture. And this was an exceptionally great salad. And here is a pair of shoes that I took a picture of as I was window shopping. Here's the right shoe. Here's the, do you get, but seriously, as funny as that is, and I'm not doing it justice, he obviously does it much better being a comedian. He is right. Can you imagine what things are going to be like? Because there are so many people doing that. And there's nothing wrong. I've been guilty of it. You've gone out, we were traveling, you've got this fantastic, beautiful, dinner. Sure, share it once in a while. But this is like he was
But
making.
every day, yeah. Or a fantastic panini. Who doesn't like a perfect panini? Come
Yeah.
on, you got to give that stuff kudos where kudos is due. But
Mhm.
however, should you be taking a photo of your Starbucks order every single day?
Mhm.
No judgment, but and you wonder why people unfollow. It's because they don't want to see your Starbucks cup unless there's something unusual about it, or you've got a gin trapped in your Starbucks cup, and it's like, all right,
Something with the
Henry,
picture.
how did that happen?
Actually, Michelle had a good point here. Michelle, you've been really bang. All of you have, but Michelle, you've had
Mm-hmm.
some really thought-provoking comments. And what she said is, and I think you may very well be absolutely right, 100% hitting the nail on the head with this. And she says, sadly, people need validation. Facebook, I guess, gives people that. It's like a hit in the endorphins. And I had not considered that, but you know what? I think you're right. And those that like drama, nobody liked my post. I only got one like. I only got,
Mm-hmm.
is that why you're posting it? Like, I don't get it, but is it because we're addicted? Not we, I'm talking the global we,
Mm-hmm.
is that we're addicted to the quick little high that it gives us because we know
Mm-hmm.
endorphins exist. We know that, yes, people can even get addicted to that. So is that what it is?
Yeah, but what happens, and this is because I've noticed, and you probably have too, that you'll post something and it gets like 6 likes. It's like, so as we know, Facebook is going the way of the dodo. Either that or people's attention spans because of TikTok are all like, I only have 15 seconds of time. I'm not going to like, share, and subscribe anything because I only want to do this. Because if I give you any kind of emoji, you might think I have a crush on you because I'm just so good that everybody wants me. And it's like, And if I don't get any validation from my posts, I'm going to sad post next and go, well, I'm going to fix my crown because you can only make me sad if I let you.
Well, Michelle,
WTF.
well, no, but Michelle had a good point. She goes, like, I feel good when you read out my comments. Well, we do it because we want to let you know that you are important to us and what you have to say. Same as I did skip over and I want to add this because Zach was mentioning, we were talking about a tea party there, a little bit about tea, I guess. And I forget what we say because we just go all around the world and back again. I'd be drinking single malt scotch at that tea party, LOL. And Shannon said, don't forget the cigars, Zach, man. And it's right. He goes, always bringing those. But we know you guys. We know, sort of things you like, or you have a lot to add to the conversation. And we really appreciate that because it makes it a lot more interesting discussion when other people all are focused on a topic, right? And you can add your perspective. And we appreciate that.
Yes, and we enjoy the interaction with you guys because we want you to speak and let us know how you feel because we have definite likes and dislikes and opinions about certain things, it doesn't mean that we can't change our opinion about any specific thing because somebody said something differently. We want you to say something different so that we think about it. Like we invite you to think about the things that Laura and I say.
Yeah.
It's like we don't want you to take our word for it. We want you to Google your hands off and start learning. I mean, I would love it better if you went to a freaking library or bought a book off Amazon or something. But other than that, I mean, if all you got to do is computer, then do that, boo.
Yes, but definitely, that's what we're hoping. And I'm glad you brought that up. You don't have to trust what we say. And I have great respect for people that say that. But if something resonates with you while you're listening to this, and it gives you that impetus to research something that we've said, by all means, yes, do it. That's what we want you to do, because then you learn when you've done that own research for yourself and you've looked and you see where that rabbit hole leads, right? You may learn something entirely new that you didn't know about. We're already out of time, Sarah. This goes by so quick.
I know it always does, but that's kind of the beauty of working with your bestie, though, is that we can pretty much we could keep going for like 5-6 hours, and we have.
Yes.
and I, you know what, I'm thinking while it's fresh in my head, we should have a tea party, have a paranormal tea party, and do it with hats. Have a tea party with hats and costumes.
Yes, for that.
I think that would be awesome.
And you can bring whatever kind of tea you like. If it's Long Island iced tea, if it's
bourbon,
a fancy cup and a hat.
Earl Grey with milk and lemon, whatever. Knock yourself out.
We only got a minute left. Do you want to tell them where to find you, and I'll tell them where to find me after?
You can find me anywhere. Seraphine Hurley's are bought and sold. I'm pretty much on the internet. I'm pretty easy to find you. It's really not hard to find me at all. So you can find me here on Tuesday nights so far, and just keep your eyes peeled for where you can find me next. And Lorelei.
And you can find me on Monday nights here from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's Eastern, 8 p.m. to 10 with the Angel Rock. And I'm trying to remember who I have next week. Oh, you know who's coming back is Paul Anthony Wallace, I believe, is on next week. He was on a few weeks ago. He's fascinating. He's from Australia too, Michelle. He's amazing. We had such a good time, and we kind of left, as we usually do, on a cliffhanger when somebody's got so much to share. So he'll be back. Also, if you ever want to get a hold of me, you can reach out to me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock to book a reading or a healing session. I think some classes, Sarah and I have talked about this. I've had enough requests lately, and maybe this is the time to finally get those darn classes out there. So watch for that as well. But you guys, thank you so much for always supporting us, for always joining in the conversation. We really appreciate you, and we send you all so much love, light, positivity, gratitude, and we'll see you next week, right, Sarah?
Absolutely. Keep being yourselves. We'll keep being ourselves, and we'll meet in the middle. We'll see you next